that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, hello, folks. How are you? Hope your Sunday's going along beautifully. And this is another in the series of common law chats that I'm having with the lovely Ramona. Now, if you haven't seen part one, it was done last Sunday. And this little chat we're going to have today is more about the judiciary today. And in a broad terms, well, we might discuss a few different sort of courts, but exactly what sort of benefit is common law to us at this time? We welcome in the most magnificent lady I've had the pleasure of meeting in the last 12 months, the lovely Ramona. How are you, darling?
I'm good, darling. It's good to see you.
Always good to see you. I get a big smile on my face whenever I see you.
That's amazing. That's what we need to do. Keep smiling, and keep inspire each other.
Well, smiling is something we can probably we probably struggle with at different times at the moment, particularly as our government seems content on making us front them for a variety of different sins that we've committed. And of course, they're only trying to extrapolate money from us if they possibly can. The judiciary, I've lost all faith in the judiciary. I've lost all faith in the police to do the right thing. I think they're both very, very controlled organizations. And that's why when you go into particularly a court, people these days are either told go and get a lawyer, or increasingly people are trying to fight the injustices in these courts themselves using common law attributes. So there are some pitfalls in doing that, Ramona. You've got to be able to cross your T's and dot your I's. You've got to do a lot of research, and obviously you've helped a lot of people out. What do you see as the biggest hindrance we have at the moment getting the judiciary back working for the people?
Ooh, where to start? All right. Let's go back 2020, okay? First court case. I dealt only with paperwork. So information which I'm going to provide is for education purposes. I'm going to share my experience and what I've seen. I've done a lot of court observation over 200 times. Over my case is probably around 100 times I've been in court. So if it comes to corruption, collusion, fraud, and if it comes to the justice system, it's a shit show. Now, there are exceptions, okay? There are exceptions because there are still some good magistrates and there's still some good judges. Very rarely. They still exist, though, okay? So I have to let you know. Probably if you compare maybe 1 or 2% or 3% maybe to the 100. So not all the judges, not all the magistrates are bad. We have assessors as well, which I'm going to talk about. That's my case anyway. And I know a couple of people who dealt with that lovely lady, so-called public servant, which I'll get into that later. Anyway, talking about the judicial system. When I started this judicial system and going to court, I actually trusted the judicial system. Back 4 or 5 years ago. Then in the last couple of years, I and right now, I think our judicial system, it's so rotten and it is so bad. And I'm not talking about just my case. Numerous cases that I've seen, I witnessed, I observed the collusion, the corruption, the fraud, and get some legal advice. I call it's a Luciferian, satanic advice based on lies, corruption, fraud, perjury, violation of due process, upholding a so-called color of the law, perjury, and so on, violation of due process, not upholding the rule of law. And it is, look, I don't like to be negative, but when it comes to the judicial system, it is horrible. And I hope there's going to be a lot of magistrates and a lot of judges going to watch this live, okay? And some of them, and especially Emma Care, if you're watching this one, you are one of the biggest liar in this judicial system, who is an assessor in the Sydney Civil Registry, collusion on the highest level, breaching fiduciary duty, forgetting to disclose the conflict of interest, and recusing. Okay, that woman, I could talk about her a long time, and I got at least 5 or 6 people, and anyone who's dealing with them or care in the Sydney Civil Registry, please do not hesitate to contact me, including Michael, MC Tag, registrar, if you have dealt with the statement of claim like council rate, strata fraud, and council fraud, and etc., because these 2 guys are colluding on the highest level, including Anna Jas, who is a registrar, like doing default judgment and forcing default judgment, which is fraud, ex parte is illegal, and so on and so on. So
Mona, you can draw attention to all of this, but can you actually do anything about it?
Look, this is okay. I'm not going to give up, all right? So if it comes to this, I'm keep going, all right? So I done heaps of judicial complaint. And look, I met with good magistrates, as I mentioned. I done around 11 judicial complaint. This is very important. And this is coming from the local court of New South Wales. Don't ask me her name, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, probably it was 2022, around February. I ring up the local court of New South Wales customer service. And I done my judicial complaint, right? So you do a judicial complaint. Judicial complaint, you fill out the paper form. Like in New South Wales, we got a judicial complaint form. I'm going to send it to you by email, and you can upload it to your website. In Queensland, if my memory is still right, a couple of years ago when I done it, you do it by email. Okay, you send it to the Chief Justice, to your court, to your Chief Justice of the state. In Victoria, I think it's the same. Obviously, every state's got a different system, but this is called the judicial complaint. Do not mix it up with the judicial review. Judicial review, when you prosecute the magistrate or the prosecutor or the judge, and you take it to the Supreme Court. So that's judicial review, okay? I'm talking about judicial complaint. Now, every single state has got a judicial commissioner, and New South Wales got Una Doyle. Now, we got issues with her as well because she's been breaching her fiduciary duty. The thing is, what I realized, every single time you deal with any public servant, you have to use the fiduciary duty letter. It's a must. And I don't care if you're using it 10 times, doesn't matter. You just keep using it because you have to remind these people, because from 1966, they just do what the hell they want. Okay? Now, suddenly in the last couple of years, we got people coming up, and we want them to operate under fiduciary duty, and they don't like it. It's same with the politicians or any public servant. We still got some good public servants who, as soon as they say fiduciary duty, boom, they change over. Now, doing judicial complaint is important. And please, guys, if you do your judiciary complaint and you got the judicial commissioner coming back, oh, sorry, we can't do anything. There was no problem. They didn't breach anything. All right. You go after the code of conduct. So whatever state you are, you look up magistrate, judges, code of conduct. If you done a fiduciary duty letter for them, okay, then you can actually complain about that, because there is 11 points about the fiduciary duty, right? No conflict of interest. You must be transparent. You must act with integrity, perform with integrity, duty of loyalty, etc., etc., right? And that's the reason the fiduciary duty is very important. And you go after the code of conduct. Now, let's see the judicial commissioner. Una Doyle is very typical here in New South Wales. She comes back, oh, I'm sorry, there is nothing wrong that the magistrate has done, which is a bunch of rubbish, okay? Now, this is when you send back that complaint again to the judicial commissioner, Una Doyle, or whatever state you are, or you send it in Queensland, you send it to the chief magistrate, and you put them on fiduciary duty. Please do your job with due diligence, blah, 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 all that points, yeah? Now, let's see. They send it back again. That's okay. You know what you do? Every single state, and this is again, it's coming from local court of New South Wales 3 years ago, you send it to the Judicial Commission members. So you need to look it up, because every single state is got around 10 or 11 Judicial Commission members. They're supposed to be independent. Now, we know they're not. Okay, but that's okay, because usually the Judicial Commissioner members are same who are in the private chambers, right? Because every single court case is supposed to go under equity, because courts in this country are administrative courts. The administrative courts only operate with consent. Okay, they only operate with consent. Pretty much it's ignored, okay, in these days in court. And what we need to, but again, there just comes the community work and the people, keep doing judicial complaint, right? If you're not happy with the magistrate, you can, anytime you go to court and you're not happy with the magistrate, do a judicial complaint. Get them on the fiduciary duty, get them on the code of conduct, do that complaint, send it to the Judicial Commissioner. If she or he send it back, you send it with the fiduciary duty again. Ask your friends to back you up. If they were in the court and you had 5 men and women who were in the court case, ask them to send it to the judicial. You want the public, you want this man, the Judicial Commissioner, to reply what's going on. If they're still not doing it, then third time, you're going to send it to the Judicial Commission members. You ask your friends to back you up again, because there it comes the public, the people, we the people, okay? We the people demand the judicial system to turn under English common law, because that's what it's supposed to be. You must cause harm, loss, or damage to be prosecuted, full stop. If someone comes and say, oh yeah, but you were speeding and blah, 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 it's criminal offense. How can be a criminal offense if there is no victim, there's no injured party? It's absolutely a bunch of lie. Okay. Now the criminal cases is because the Sukivi trust, it goes triple time charged. Okay. And the civil is only once. It's all about the securities and bonds. I'm going to send you a book, The Court Registry Investment System. Please upload it to your page. Okay.
Sure. Well, you have your own page now on Voice of Freedom. You know that?
Oh, do I? No, I didn't know that.
In fact, I'll share it with you if you'd like. So, if folks want to, see how all this works, you can see here that this is. If you go across the top, home, sponsors, donations, membership info, and then Mona's common law tools, and in there you will find everything, including the shows last week, and the next one will go up underneath here as well. And the fiduciary duty document is actually missing from this page, but I've just texted Vince, and he'll make sure that he gets that put up very shortly. But all of that is available at vofhq.com, and anything you send me, Mona, will be uploaded to that site. So people will be able to get it.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to send you this Court Registry Investment System. I want everyone who is watching this live today, or the show, sorry, I want you to download it. It's a 66 pages, 66, okay? I'm going to tell you 66, so you can make that crap up, okay? And study it, yeah? Because everything is security and everything goes back to the birth certificate, okay? And if you go, because I know someone in one of the states who actually turned the court from administrative court to the courts of equity, okay? Because every single court case, if it doesn't go under equity, it's a probate fraud. It's a tortfeasor, right? Because that's just all about obtaining financial gain by deception. It's a financial rape. It's a statutory rape. If you're not the person, they need your consent. We got high court cases, Fort with ASIC 2006. We got Cruden with Neil 1795. If you are a British subject, you cannot be prosecuted. If you done your petition of right, the court cases must go under English common law. Of course, we got some assessors like Emma Care or MC Tag Michael Registrar, they're perverting the course of justice, perjury, distracting our documents.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Sorry.
Slow down.
I need to slow down.
I know you're excited.
I get excited about this stuff.
I know.
I keep doing it for a while. And look, I can tell you one thing. I'm going to keep going. I learned so much, even just the last couple of months, what they have put me through. And I have to thank you so much for that lovely public servants. They done all that perjury, corruption, fraud, collusion, whatever you want to call it. Thank you very much. Because you know what? You made me to learn more. And are just seeing so much collusion, and what lawyers do, like, how they lie, and they coming up with different names, with under different company. They're practicing law without law practicing certificate, because they are third-party interlopers, and prosecutors practicing without law practicing certificate, which is again a big no-no. The third-party interlopers as well, the prosecutors, like the police prosecutor. If the police officer who stopped you, and if he's not prosecuting you, you don't have to consent for the prosecutor to be part of the proceeding, because he or she is a third-party interloper. And she might doesn't even have the law practicing certificate. And guess what? You can lodge a complaint about the prosecutors as well, right? So you can lodge complaints about the prosecutors. You can lodge complaints about police officers, and go after their fiduciary duty. This is the reason we got the fiduciary duty letter. We place them under fiduciary. If they breach it, we go after the fiduciary. Straight away, the indemnity insurance clicks in for the lawyers, for the judges, the magistrates, prosecutors, police officers. That's the indemnity insurance number, fidelity number, right? So if you place them under fiduciary, and sometimes you have to complain 4 times. Like me, last year, I have to lodge a complaint 4 times to the Tasmanian Law Society. 4 times in 2 months, till they finally started the investigation. Guess what? They're still going on. Because the collusion and corruption is just like, we do whatever because it's too much collusion. Anyway, in end of the day, there comes the community. So it's not just me who needs to do it. Everyone needs to do it. You're not happy with the judicial system? Do a complaint. You're not happy with the public servant? You do a complaint. Okay? This is constructive feedback. Okay, so when I say constructive, we want them to be better. Again, that's a different story. Emma Care shouldn't work as an assessor because she caused so many harm, loss, or damage to a lot of men and women. Okay, that I'm aware of that. And she's been perverting the course of justice. She's sitting in perjury. She's impersonating the crown, and so on and so on. Personage, barratry, breach of fiduciary duty. We're talking about 20 years jail time. And slavery, 25 years jail time. Yeah, pushing slavery. She told another day, oh, I don't need consent. Like, I'm wondering who the hell this woman thinks she is. Every single court case is consent. And I don't care what people say. Oh, you went to the courtroom and you consented. Bullshit. Where is the full disclosure? Brief of evidence is not a full disclosure. Yeah?
Yep.
So it's just all tricks and traps, and we want the person, because the court is administering the deceased estate. They want the person. That's the birth certificate. The woman or the man cannot be prosecuted, and that's the reason they created the legal system. Go and get some legal advice. No, thank you very much. I don't need satanic advice. I told them a few times. Now no one is recommending me to get legal advice, because honestly, don't even go there. Satanic, Luciferian, based on deceptive. I've seen that. I've seen last year what I've seen in the Supreme Court of New South Wales. I'm seeing another court cases as well just going on. We're going to talk about Supreme Court. We're going to talk about local court. We're going to go to the district court. We're going to talk family court. Let's just not even go into the family courts, because that's one of the most corrupt courts. God save you if you end up in family courts. I'm praying for you guys. I'm praying for you if you end up in family courts, because they got a family law playbook. Okay? They're going to try to, if you don't have the petition of right, example, right, they're going to try to put you on the mental health, right, that what you're saying doesn't make sense, or they try to put you in jail. That's the
Or the fact that you chose not to have the squirty thing shoved in your arm, and that's used against you as some sort of mental health example. They'll take every opportunity, and that's why I don't really care how bad your relationship is, unless of course it's abusive. Stay out of the family court. We call them the child stealers for a reason.
Yes.
You don't own your kids. You rent them. If you gave your children a birth certificate, you gave them up to the corporation. All right? You just simply rent them, and you get to pay for them.
It's pay parent, pay rent, parent, pay rent. Children, word of the state. Yeah, children are word of the state. And some of the schools, you wouldn't believe it, guys. A lot of things is in front of us. If you got a kid, make sure you check the paper, because sometimes written children/word of the state. You should not have that on the paperwork. You should have my private property or my offspring. my private property. Okay?
My progeny.
Not a word of the state. So watch out the words what they're using. Watch out what you sign, because, and another thing which I'm going to suggest you guys, if you do have your kid birth certificate, I strongly suggest you apostille the birth certificate, so you get out from the state jurisdiction, you go on the international. Okay, that's another thing as well. And having the power of attorney.
How do you go about doing that, Mona, for those people that might
be interested? There is DFAT, go to the DFAT website, DFAT, whatever state you are. And there is called the apostille form that you need to fill out. It's 2 pages. And basically you're going to, I can send you the DFAT form. I just need to write it down so I don't forget. You need to fill it out, okay? And you basically, they put it, like when they get the DFAT stamp, it's basically you go under international jurisdiction, okay? Because, I know a couple of us who has done it. And this is very important, especially if you got a offspring, because I know a couple of mom and dads who has done it, especially who's got kids. And it does help. Not to mention, again, I'm back to the petition of right. If you've done your petition of right, you put your kid as a protected person or private person. You put it under your petition of right if they're under 21. Now, we do have some issues with the apostille because a lot of people have been doing it, and now they're slowing it down, which is, again, it's perverting the course of justice. Again, I'm back to the fiduciary duty letter for the public servant. Any public servant, so-called public servant, because we know they're not public servant, but anyway, let's just call them public servant, all right? Let's just stick to that, okay? They basically owning a fiduciary duty, okay? If they're claiming they're not public servant, thank you very much. You just confirmed you're a foreign agent. Guess what, honey? You need the ASIC 402, 403, 404, 405, 418 form, and the foreign registration statement as well. So let's choose. And you need the commercial contract. Signed by me and signed by you, okay? So, when you go to court, I had MK told me another day, this is my court. I'm like, really? This is your court. It's supposed to be the people's court, right? I was like, okay. So if it's your court, how about if you produce me your ASIC forms and the foreign registration statement? Not to mention, she was sitting under the private seal fraud, which is using the New South Wales private seal to obtaining committing forgery, under the Crimes Act 1900, Section 253, which is imprisonment, 14 years imprisonment, to forging documents, because the courts are forging documents. They're issuing so-called bogus court order under a fraudulent scene, which is the seal, which is treason. Not just treason on the highest level.
Yeah, high treason. Yeah.
High treason. I was going to send you the timesheet about treason. I love serving it. And if you go to court, if you know the treason and you've done your paperwork and you can stand on it, serve them the treason. Councils are sitting in treason. Strata is sitting in treason. Courts are sitting in treason. If they're not going under courts of equity and they're not acting they're sitting in treason. They're using the private seal. Supreme Court is using private seal of New South Wales or Queensland, whatever Supreme Court you are. Family court. If you look at Dick Yardley, the paperwork, he calls them the pedophiles.
Yeah.
So
Dick names them for what they are, all right.
Dick is amazing. I love Dick. Dick Yardley. We're talking about Dick Yardley and David John Water. Both are just legend. It's the fraudulent seal, Ramona. Can't you see that? I'm like, I see that. And that's forgery, right? And then there is a paperwork for New South Wales. I got it, which I'm going to send you as well, the private seal fraud, right? And you can actually, fill it out and do it. It's only 4 pages, the lawful notice about treason. I got it for Queensland as well. So I'm going to send you a couple of instruments. Guys, study it. Because the lawful notice example for New South Wales, which I've been using, the treason one, I actually been using the treason documents as of 2022. I just went through a couple of my documents in 19 September 2022. After 1 year, I got arrested. I started using the document about the treason. So I've been serving the police officers about the treason and serving the courts about the treason. It's a 7 pages, beautiful document, timesheet about the treason, Make them educated. First, serve the fiduciary duty. Okay, make sure you're clear about the fiduciary. It's only a 1 or 2 page. You know, I can send you the simple one. Have always a copy with you. Have 10 copies if the police stops you. The police not even supposed to stop you. Like, we got court cases for that. You must commit harm, loss, or damage. Right, George v. Rocket High Court case, 1990. You must have first facts evidence to stop you. Otherwise, it's a financial rape, it's a statutory rape, it's obtaining financial gain by deception, it's a war crime, right? It's basically the only reason they usually, even the RBT is illegal. We got the IBIT with New South Wales 2006 High Court case. RBT is illegal, you know, and they're forcing people, which is medical rape. It's a medical rape. If they want you to do RBT, please choose your battles. I'm not going to say don't do RBT, or I'm not going to say that. Do everything under duress. Choose your battles. Choose your battles, because you're dealing sometimes with absolutely criminals. Okay?
And this is one of the issues that we face in the common law movement, in that there are laws that we sort of agree with and should be in place. Now, nobody thinks that you should be allowed to drink and drive and put others on the road at risk. If you want to risk your own life, that's fine and well and good. However, from a common law perspective, and if let's just say we all lived and existed in a common law world, and you had access to your SESQV trust, what would happen if I, for instance, got drunk at the pub, got in the car, drove off, and ran into Mona and killed her in a car accident? What would happen would be that her family would gain access to my trust, because I have to take responsibility for the decision that I made to get in the car and drive drunk, knowing full well that I could cause an accident, cause harm, cause great damage. And if that is the case, then a common law court will be a lay down misere win for Ramona and her family against me. But that requires us to take personal responsibility. And I think that the current legal system, if you want to call it that, is working the way it does because very few of us take personal responsibility for our actions. And, of course, when you have a lawyer, if they think they can get more money out of you, they will encourage you to plead not guilty because you did nothing wrong. Then if they think, oh, well, I can't really make a good argument and make much money out of you, I'm going to convince you to plead guilty instead. And then your lawyer starts working for the rest of the court as well against you. You are third in the list of responsibilities your lawyer keeps. The court is the first. So what do we do here, Mona? How do we make that step? Because if you and I could snap our fingers and have common law in place tomorrow, I know just among the people that I happen to have close to me on this property here, there are none of them willing to take personal responsibility. None of them. All looking to blame. And it's not just this property. It's everywhere. It's human nature, and we've been brainwashed into it. It's not my fault. Somebody else made me do it. Somebody else did it. Somebody else encouraged me. We take no personal responsibility. And as far as I can get from my Magna Carta studies and from listening and talking with you for hours at a time, it comes down to taking responsibility, doesn't it?
Yep. So it was a very good point. And I actually got an example. I got a friend, and he got caught a few times drink driving. So he came to me and he asked me if I can help. And the thing is, when it comes to drink driving, I'm really sorry. I actually refuse to help. I said, look, the thing is, because, I know it's assumption, but basically you are out on the road, and yes, you can cause harm, loss, or damage. So anyway, then that living being got a lawyer, got off. Some people get jailed for that, but anyway. So this topic, it's come sensitive because again, it's all goes back to your integrity. And there is anyone who's done, again, I'm going to go back to the petition of right, because anyone who's done the petition of right, you got a code of conduct. Okay. So you got a fiduciary duty for yourself, how to behave and what to do. You really need to make sure that you cause no harm, loss, or damage. Whatever you do, you need to take commercial liability. That's how a man or woman stands under code of conduct. Not like some public servants issue document, they're not even putting their name on it.
No.
Especially when you're passing the box back and forward because they're all colluding. And when it comes to liability, I don't know. I'm not putting my name on it. I'm not going to stand up. It was me. Now, if I issue a paperwork, hey, I do an affidavit or whatever, I put my name on it. It's black and white. It was me. Take the liability, take the responsibility, because that's code of conduct. That's fiduciary duty. So going back again to that accident, now I know people who actually, when they caused, the one had insurance, another one didn't. Anyway, managed to set off with bill of exchange, or they managed to set off basically at, it's a legal name, using the legal name. You got the Sukivi Trust, and insurance is usually between the middle agent, between you and the Sukivi Trust.
The Sukivi Trust,
yeah, same with the bank. Like a CBA bank in Australia is holding all the Sukivi Trust, because they signed up, like I think in 1933 or 1933 in America, because that's when the whole 1933, when we had the House Joint Resolution, 5th of June 1933, debt cannot pay debt. All these debts are perpetual revenue. Now, we can go further that every single bank, they got a debenture trustee when you're paying by bill of exchange or you're paying by promissory note. So that's another subject. We can talk about it, but we've been talking about the judicial system. And basically, what I wanted to say that... going back to the judicial system now, when it comes to drink driving, it's a very, for me, it's a very sensitive subject, because for me it always comes: have you caused any harm, loss, or damage? Have you acted in integrity? Have you been transparent? Are you standing under the code of conduct as a man or woman? And it's even having the petition of right. I had someone told me, so I can kill someone and I get off, and I'm like, No. So it's here. Still, it is very important. And even if you've done your petition of right, and I can tell you right now, you will be tested in a court. Okay, and then and you know what? Good. I don't mind about that, because that magistrate or that judge, and I've seen that before, and I'm grateful and thankful. They want to make sure that you're actually comprehending what does it mean you cause no harm, loss, or damage. Do you actually comprehend it? Having a petition of right, we fall under English common law, so you cannot cause any harm, loss, or damage, right? If you do, you must provide remedy. You are responsible for your actions, okay? This is very important. This is code of conduct.
So are you saying that the court in that instance is trying to make you aware that if you go down this path, you must take responsibility?
Yep. Yeah, and it's happened with me before, because I think goes back in 2021, being tested, and in 2022 when I done my petition of right, that to make sure you comprehend it, because even sometimes I have things I've been saying, and it's you every single time you talk about a subject, you're just putting the puzzle together, because this whole system is set up in so much collusion and so much corruption and so much based on fraud, deception, that when you start digging and you see this whole legal system and you see the judicial system, right now in Australia, the judicial system is so bad. Like it's so many men and women suffering. They go to court, they do these ex parte cases, and this is one of the worst. Again, consent. Ex parte is illegal. It goes back to the Constitution, page 614, the annotated one, the Quorum. No man can be judged behind his back. Number one, Constitution. Anyone overthrowing the Constitution, that's treason under the Federal Crimes Act 1914, Section 24A. Number 3, ex parte is illegal. Colville Cameron, 1944 High Court case. Everything is consent. Look at the Clearfield Doctrine, 2 pages. All courts are dissolved, right? Everything works by consent. Everything. And when I have heard these judges or magistrates, they're telling, I don't need your consent. That's slavery. That is full slavery. That is harassment. That is intimidation. That is economical abuse, emotional abuse. It's it's treason. It's spiritual harm. Yeah, they're causing you spiritual harm. They're causing you harm, loss, and damage. And they're breaching the trust. Because if you've done the fiduciary duty, And they're not keeping it. They're bridging trust. Bridging trust is spiritual harm, causing you spiritual harm. It's a fool that you can do and start doing litigation. Now, I know a couple of men, I'm still just learning that process, because now I'm on the stage. I've done a lot of judicial complaint. I came out public to talk about these public servants. I'm happy to talk about any public servant. I'm happy to name you and shame you. Okay? If I put you under fiduciary duty and you're denying it, right? I'm sorry. You are absolutely a scumbag. I got a nice song. This one. Liar, liar, pants on fire. I've been singing this. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
I can hear you singing that down the phone at these people.
Sorry?
I can hear you singing that down the phone at those people.
I was supposed to do that. That's how I was supposed to start my court case. But after I finished the court case, and I went on live another day and I said, Emma Care, liar, liar, pants on fire. She was one of the biggest liars I ever met in this country. I'm probably going to forgive her, but man, I tell you what, she is one of the biggest liar I met through in the judicial system. After 4 years, I've been being in court, dealt with a lot of magistrates, dealt with a lot of a few judges. I dealt with a lot of registrars and everything. And I tell you what, she's one of the worst. And I know because I got a couple of friends who've been dealing, and I actually witnessed her another day, that she was going ex parte. She completely ignored the consent and so on and so on. And I'm like, I even speak up as well. I did speak up. She didn't like it. But anyway, I'm just observing what she's doing, because this is another thing. We need to keep observing. Okay.
Yeah. And it's not enough just to watch. You need to take notes. You need to take dates, time, places.
Yes.
All right. It's not just to say, I saw her walking one day and she did this. No, that's not enough. This is almost like it is an evidence gathering situation.
Yes.
Yeah. A diary. Yeah.
Diary.
And
diary, because
if you've
the diary
diarized, if you've diarized it, it's evidential. And all of this evidence will be used one day. Will it be next week, next month, next year, next century? I don't know. But if we don't have this evidence, these bastards are going to get away scot-free.
Yep. And that's the reason it's important. Because I got people sometimes, and look, if someone should be disappointed that how much stuff I have done, just my case, and basically complaining from the bottom till the top, like I think I got 27 public servants who are up in, like Attorney General level, then Governor General, and Treasury, and Law Courts Director, blah, blah, blah. They will know about my caucus, about Strata, about MLK and MCT. And basically, going out public, there was another thing which now family courts, you need to be careful going out to public, okay? Because the family courts, like as I mentioned, it's one of the most corrupt. Not to mention, none of them got the lawful oaths as of 1966. We don't have lawful magistrate, lawful judges. So you need to be careful with the family courts. The family courts are really, really, really corrupt. And lawyers are usually involved in the family courts. They're very, very, very corrupt. So much collusion, fraud.
Well, it's not just a court-appointed lawyer. It's a prosecutor, and then the Department of Child Stealing will be represented by not one but 4 or more lawyers. And of course, you're arguing those lawyers are working on behalf of the department, who own more of your children than you do.
Yeah, and that's the reason, we come back to apostille and birth certificate and having basically power of attorney over the birth certificate. That's another thing as well. And claiming your kids as a private property. Never claim them as your children. They're not your children. They are your private property. As a private property, it's yours. Okay, the children belong to the state, because with the birth certificate. So you really need to comprehend it, because, that's how a lot of men and women actually losing kids, and not knowing your rights and standing on your rights, and a lot of whatever going on. Anyway, going back to the judicial system. So judicial complaint is important. Okay, family courts is another subject, as I mentioned, because at the family court you complain only to the family courts. So just to make sure, stay in the house. In the meantime, I'm still going to suggest you go and see the Attorney General. because he's actually the legal commissioner. He's responsible for this, and the governor general as well. Go get them involved, get the human rights commissioner involved, get the anti-slavery commissioner involved in your state and federal level, get NACC involved, because they are the public servants that you can federal level you can do a lodge a complaint. And just look, you must do the judicial complaint, and don't worry if they is sending it back first time, because I have a lot of people like, but they send it back, they don't do anything. Yeah, because they want you to stop. Sometimes you have to do it 4 times. You have to do it 4 times sometimes, to make sure they do something, because these guys, they want you to give up and not keep asking and not keep going. But if you keep going and you keep asking, because, hey, they got a fiduciary duty, remember? They got a fiduciary duty.
Yep.
If they're claiming to be a public servant, they got a fiduciary duty. And I know you heard that from me so many times in the last 2 years or 3 years or whatever, even 2023. Fiduciary duty, I've been using it a lot. It is crucial. It is crucial. And breach of trust and spiritual harm. We got judge and a magistrate. When one of these gentlemen and a lady said that in the court, this whole court case is causing me spiritual harm, the judge and magistrate just looked like, what's going on? Test it out, spiritual harm, because they're causing you spiritual harm, which is breach of trust, which is treason, and you must be compensated for that. So what I was going to say as well, I know a lot of men and women now, they're working on to do private prosecution and litigation against police officer, prosecutor, magistrate, judge, assessor, whatever. Okay, which again, I'm going to let you know, guys, the only way it's going to work, if you have the numbers, you're going to have in 72 hours, get the same paper, lodge a judicial review or lodge a complaint or lodge in numbers the same, that the same magistrate, you're lodging a complaint. Go on Facebook. Hey, guys, have you dealt with this magistrate? Hey, guys, have you dealt with this judge? Hey, guys, have you dealt with this lawyer? I need to lodge a judicial complaint. Work together, do it together, back up each other. Then you can question each other, because as we the people, these guys are responsible to give us full disclosure. What's happened with this case, right? So I can ask about my friend case. Hey, what's going on? I actually just observed what this magistrate has done on this court case. What are you doing about it? So it's not you asking for yourself. You have someone else asking. Then they actually have to answer for we the people. So if you are a court observer and your friend's got a court case, make sure if that magistrate or judge doesn't do the job, do the complaint, and you make sure your friends are backing you up and your friends are asking the question. And if your friends dealt with the same magistrate or same judge, make sure they lodge a complaint as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure follow up. And I know it's a lot of work. But it is important, because right now everything works in community. I've seen people who done with different councils, putting them on notice just 4 or 5. CEO resigned in a couple of days. Okay. If you're doing challenging the councils, I'm actually concentrating more on the councils and strata. Anyone who's challenging councils and strata, I'm actually building community for that. I got someone who's concentrating on family court. So if anyone would like to contact me, I'll make sure I contact you. Everything works as a community. Okay, community. Because that is very important, and backing up each other. Work is a community. You got a court case. Let's say your friend's got a court case. Get everyone to put them on fiduciary duty. Appoint them as a fiduciary trustee. Send them. If you got one friend and you got 20 people backing you up, send the same email. Make sure you make them. Then in 20 times he got actually put on fiduciary duty. If you have to put it 5 times, do it bloody 5 times. If you have to do it 10 times, do it bloody 10 times. Remember, these guys are doing it from 1966, and they think, we can just get on with that. We've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
That's the
and
you
they
can
push
need.
back. Even when you hit the nail right on the head, they will push back, and they'll make you think you haven't hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. And just keep repeating. And I know it's a lot of the men and women is like, oh my God, do you think it's gonna work? And I believe it's gonna work. I believe, because I've seen it. I put all the magistrates on fiduciary duty in the last 2-3 years. I think 2 or 3 times, maybe more. I can remember. Last year, not one magistrate touched my case, and I had 5 court cases. Not one magistrate. If you do this one, please make sure you got your petition of right, because guys, the petition of right is a gold document. But you must comprehend that document. It's diamond. I call that document diamond, okay, because it give you the basic protection. Okay, it's a basic, as I mentioned, basic. There's so much stuff that you can do, done in the track. Okay, but that's a basic. A lot of people getting put on the mental health because you write 67 pages affidavit. Because the affidavit, they're still not taking it as a prima facie evidence or as a forensic document. But the David John Water one, it is a prima facie evidence. It is a forensic document. You do your petition of right, which is backing up the David John Water one, and you write, and I got people writing about the corruption, and the David John Water petition of right,
That is the third downloadable file on Mona's Common Law Tools page at vofhq.com. So if you want to have a look at it and have a read of it, that's the third downloadable document that's sitting on that page. So by all means, we would encourage you to download it and have a good read thereof. And if you've got any questions, then by all means, send them in to me. I'll make sure that Mona gets them. It's pretty simple. All right, so in closing, then, let's give people a starting point for fiduciary duty and the petition of right. What do you do first?
So, okay, depend what stage you are. Some people, if you're sending out a lot of fiduciary duty letter, just to protect yourself, I probably would suggest you have your petition of right done. Okay, number first. Again, just remember to get your head around with the petition of right. It's 119 pages. I got the YouTube link as well, where you can actually listen, the 119 pages. It's around 120 minutes. And your petition of right, you need to comprehend it as well. That's take for a while. If you just basically, you're sending maybe to the council or you're sending to the court, start with the fiduciary duty letter. In the meantime, that fiduciary duty letter, which we put together in January, okay, yes. That would be one of the best thing to start with, though. If they don't have the petition of right, then you send it out to all the politicians. Then you just keep sending it again, that one, forwarding that fiduciary duty letter, because pretty much everything is there already. Okay. Yep. Now, fiduciary, every single time you go to that court, make sure that magistrate or registrar, whatever how you say, claiming to be a public servant, make sure they are under fiduciary duty. Okay. Yep. Then if they breach the fiduciary duty, you can do a statement of claim in the Supreme Court. I think if my memory is good, because if they're breaching fiduciary duty, you can do prosecution as well. Okay. Now,
so do you serve them those documents in the court, or do you serve them prior to you going in?
Serve it before.
Yeah.
So they can have time to read it through, right? Yeah. They don't like it. Prosecutors don't like it. When you measure fiduciary duty, if you look at Canon Law 2057, when you establish that you are the man or the woman and they're still ignoring you, that's a huge breach of fiduciary duty. Canon Law 2057. If they breach their fiduciary duty, that's breach of trust. That is treason, and that is causing spiritual harm. Okay? And I believe if you get the people and we get the numbers, look, fiduciary is not a big deal. For them, it's a big deal. But, it's only like what? The whole fiduciary duty is basically one page. It's not a rocket science. You must come with clean hands, and that's equity, right? Every single court case should be under equity. We shouldn't even go to this administrative court. They're dealing with the deceased estate. That's probate court. They're dealing with the deceased, not with the live. They're dealing with the deceased, because that's how the legal system set up. That's how they can go. And we have to start. To ask them to go under courts of equity, go under equity jurisdiction. Come with clean hands. How many police officers? How many prosecutors? How many magistrates gonna come with clean hands?
None.
We got one. That's what I mean. You probably okay. I'm gonna say, look, I met with one, Brett Thomas, Brett Thomas, and another one is the deputy chief magistrate, Teuta Tsavidis. I have all due respect. I met with the judge as well. I do have all respect. Justice Kunz in Supreme Court. Okay, I met as well in Queensland, John Milburn, magistrate.
Oh yeah.
I have all respect. When I mentioned that I'm not the deceased estate under the CQV Act, he adjourned that. He didn't want to deal with this matter. He put just no plea. I'm innocent until proven guilty. So there are. there are magistrates, and not too many. But I think this is where I'm standing. You're gonna have the numbers. You keep demanding the fiduciary. You have people backing you up. If they breach the fiduciary, you do the complaint under you breached conflict of interest. A lot of magistrates operated as a solicitor or prosecutor. That's already breach of fiduciary duty, because they must disclose that they got conflict of interest. If they got conflict of interest, that case is supposed to be dismissed. And if they don't do it, that's breach of trust. That is treason. That's breach of fiduciary duty. Already you got the point to complain. That's it.
Yep.
Or maybe just choose
100%.
only 3 or 5 points. Anything they do, it's fraud. Unless they go under equity. So
the only way that we can wear these bastards down is by understanding this sort of thing ourselves, and I mean really understanding, comprehending what it is that you're doing. This isn't just a matter of reading it like you would read a newspaper. You need to live this. You need to really live it, and to live it, you have to comprehend it.
And just one more last thing before we finish. Now, I'm so proud of some of the men and women, and God bless you, okay? Because I got some men and women who has been using the corruption whistleblower newspaper, first edition or second or third. They're putting that in court as an evidence with your affidavit. God bless you. Please keep doing it. They must accept it. If you do it with an affidavit, they must accept it. Okay, because otherwise it's perfect. It's perverting the course of justice. So just keep going. And there is a fourth edition coming out soon as well.
Yep.
And I will talk about it next time, because, and I'm probably gonna ask either Donna or maybe Mark, because they're planning some stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Peter, Donna, or Mark, we'll say. I don't know if you want to talk. And we're planning a couple of things, and we're gonna look for people all around the states who are happy to send it to the magistrates. Personally.
Yeah, great.
Send them a nice present with a big love heart that we love. We're sending love to them, and they want them to do proper justice. We want to go under equity and do it in the right way, not the wrong way, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us again today. We'll do it all again next week, of course. And if people do have questions, they can email me, carl@vofhq.com. I'll forward them through to Mona. And at some point, whether it's next week or in shows coming after that, we might do a Q&A where we can go through quite a lot of these. And, of course, if you've got any questions in the chat tonight, we'll try and copy those out and get them to Mona as well, so that you can get a bit of an answer. There is a lot to think about with doing a common law defense. There is a lot you need to comprehend about yourself. And there is a lot that I think all of us need to understand about committing to this kind of a defense or this kind of judicial system, because it requires us all to stand up and take personal responsibility. And if you're not ready for that, and I don't know how many people are, and everything that encompasses. All right, there is.
Start with a step by step, and look, you will get there. I've been doing it for 4 years. We always learn. So,
and it's not like you've got to work at it, is it, Mona? It's a natural thing. We want to do the right thing by others.
Yeah,
that is our innate. Well, for most of us, it's inbuilt. Yeah. We want to help where we can. We want to do as best we can for those who are in more need than ourselves. In most cases, I understand there are people who are just dead set selfish. They're the people. They're the psychopaths that run big business, right? And they are psychopaths. This is the problem.
Because it's money and under equity. Because when you go to court, they're making around $150,000 from the Sue Kiwi Trust. We're supposed to get paid for it because we're performing. They're using the legal name. Which I don't have issues with that. But leave the men and women alone. Stop dragging us to court because, speeding fine and this, Navy and all that, blah, blah, blah. Just one more thing which I forgot to say. You know how you got the webpage? Can you please correct it to English common law, because that's basically cause no harm, loss or damage. I forgot to say that. And that's with the petition of right as well. When we do the petition of right, and Uncle Des called me and told me, please make sure that we have to go under English common law, because when you've done your POR, when you run your POR, be demanding the courts to go under English common law, which means cause no harm, loss, or damage. Yeah.
We will make that change today
Thank
for you,
you.
without a worry.
You are a legend. Did I tell you?
I've heard that before from you, but I know. I won't say what I was going to say. Love you dearly, darling. I'll talk to you again during the week,
Love
and
you
we will
too.
catch up again next Sunday.
Sounds good. Love and light, and have a beautiful night.
You too, darling. Mona, back with us next Sunday, and English common law is what we'll be renaming that tab. Just another quick look at it, so you can see if you go to vofhq.com, vofhq.com. That's our Voice of Freedom page, and you'll see it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th tab across, and Mona's soon-to-be English common law tools. And we recommend you download and have a good read, and more particularly comprehend what you're reading there. And if you do have questions, by all means, email them in, carl@vofhq.com. I hope you've enjoyed your Sunday evening, and this has given you a little something to think about for the rest of the week. If you are heading out working this week, good luck to you. Stay safe on the roads. The dickheads are out there.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!